What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing another video today. The second major cycle is about to start, so we got qualifiers coming up later this week. I am competing in the Breaking Point community fantasy challenge, so I figured I'd make a video, walk you through my process of picking my team, maybe talk a little bit smack about some of the people I'm playing. Let's dive in and see which 4 players we're going to be running with this major. All right, first off, if you've never checked out breakingpoint.gg, it's a great website to get stats, news, all sorts of information about CDL, challengers, all things competitive Call of Duty, so make sure you check them out. But if you go to their page, you see the big button sort of message right here to go and submit your fantasy team. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna click on that. It's gonna load and we're gonna go ahead and dive in on this. Now, for reference chat on why, we're making this video here and how good we are at this. My first ever play in the fantasy thing was at Champs last year, and I went ahead and actually took the overall prize. I think I tied with like 4 people, but this is the team that I picked. We went ahead and we finished first. And then last major, I actually got 74th, but in the community challenge with a bunch of people on Twitter, a lot of people you probably know, I went ahead and actually got first in that. So I'm trying to go back to back in the community challenge and see if I can get first overall amongst all players in this. So let's dive in a little bit on the strategy of what I'm thinking. So we have $25 to spend on 4 players. There's a bunch of different ways that you can go about this. As you see here from this drop down, players are anywhere from $10 to $4. So, you can play a little bit of interesting strategy here. Do you kind of top end your team with like $1 to $10 players, and then you try and find value at the bottom? Do you try and find, value in the middle and then take a shot at someone on the bottom? Personally, for me, I think going for a top end player is not necessarily going to allow you the option to ensure that you're kind of in that really good, like 1,000, 1,500 sort of range. Like, yeah, you can go pick up like a simp or a pred, and it's going to get you a lot of points, but then you're really going to have to get a number of $4 and $5 players, and it gets a little dicey from there. But I have a couple of people that I've seen consistently do good, and they have good value. So let's talk about that. So I think the strategy of what I'm going to do is, first off, we're going to go ahead and pick Draza. I have picked Draza in every single one of these entries so far. He sits there at the $8 mark. And if you take a look at, what he's done in past competitions, I can't see farther back into the Major 4 and Major 5 cycles, but he actually has done really well in scoring there at Champs. Obviously did very well as well. And then, numbers okay in Major 1, but he's still sort of in the top half of all players on a 400 spot. So that's good enough for me. I think value-wise, I feel like I'm going to get good numbers out of there. Next up, I think we're also going to follow up with another $8 player. There's a number of really good options in this area. Like, we can go with Priesta if we think we're going to get good numbers out of New York, but I'm going to go with Simp, and this is for a number of couple reasons. One is, I think when you play this competition, what I have found is you always want to, especially for these full major cycle ones, is pick teams I think that are going to go like really deep in the competition, play on Sunday at Major 2. So picking teams like Thieves or FaZe, I know that are like a guaranteed top 6, top 4, top 3, top 2 team, going to help me a lot. Sim's scoring at Major 1 was pretty good. His scoring at Champs was also pretty good as well. Feels good like he's a top 10 player in this format. I know he's going to make plays. And, my play originally, chat, we talk about my team last majors. I went with mostly like AR players because I thought the meta was pretty AR heavy, and it worked well online, and then we got to land and became more sub heavy. Right now, when I've been told about scrims, the sub players are playing pretty well. So going with Draza as a flex and going with the pure SMG as Simp is a pretty good play, I think, to ensure that I kind of get the most of my points. And look, I could go with the pred type and maybe I get in the 600 range, but the problem is that on the back end of that, I'm going to have to sacrifice the 200 mark. I feel like it's way more ceiling. I think I can hit my ceiling more if I pick 2 players that I feel like are going to get me in the 400 range and have like 500 to 600 upside. That's why I'm going with the double 8s here. All right, from there, we have about $9 left. So we're probably looking at a 5 and 4 option here. I think in the $5 players, there's a number of really good, options in here. I think the 2 probably ones that people are probably going to lean towards is either Kenny or SHOTZZY. Now, I like Ken, and he's pretty good in this format. If we look at sort of his previous scores, obviously Major 1 was not great for him, but I don't think he played well individually there. And he had really good upside at Champs when they played well. That being said, I'm not like super in on, I think, Thieves being like super good at Major 2 just yet. I think the player in the number 5 spot that has the most upside for me is probably Ant. Again, with the roster change, I think having more pace around him, as we've discussed on previous videos on my channel, I think is going to bring the best out of him. He didn't play particularly well in the last major cycle. I can go show you with individual numbers. They are not good, but I think at $5, he's a steal. Now, I know he's probably going to be a common kind of pick, but I think between him and Ken, I want to kind of diversify my picks here and not pick like 2 Thieves players and try and spread it out. Again, this gives me more options if one of these teams end up winning the event. I want to make sure I have more, like I said, top 6, top 8 teams making it to grand finals. So I'm going to go with Ant, and that's going to leave me with $4. We got 5 people to pick from in the $4 spot. We have both Boston subs, both LAG subs, and scraps. So this gets into a really tricky spot. I basically, if I can nail the $4 pick here, I have a very good chance of winning this thing, but these options are very tricky. You might think to yourself, oh, Nero and Vivid are probably like particularly good picks in this format. And honestly, again, if I could go back and show you sort of the previous major numbers, the 2 subs on Boston are okay picks. And it's just a question of, you know, between the value I want, which is the better of the 2. Reese had better points at champs, but he had worse points than Nero at major 1. So it's a little bit of a trickier spot there. And then if I go with Joe Deceives and Exceed, I don't really have much to go on there because neither have played, you know, a CDL league match before. I think Joe's going to end up being more the gap fill sub of the 2. I'm not really sure who's the trophy player, if they have a trophy sub. I want to stay away from trophy subs. And then we also have Maddie as well. And again, I don't really know how good London is. So this is a little bit of a tricky spot. It's just a question of between Boston, LAG, and London. Which do I feel like is more, I have more confidence in to play, place deeper at Boston? Probably Boston because they got the home crowd. So then we just got to decide between Nero and Vivid who we like. And the top thing for me is you look at like the stats, and they're definitely, I think, pretty close in terms of stats numbers. And even the S&D, which would be kind of tiebreaker for me, they're also close as well. I think Nero's probably the better control player, and maybe that's going to be the tiebreaker for me, but that can always swing the other way. Honestly, I think what I'm going to do, since it's a little bit of a coin flip, is I think we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Nero. And I think it's just it's a 50-50 on that. The way I see my team is if Ant gives me 300 to 400 point upside, these 2 as well, the 400 to 500. Then I get like a 2 or a 250 out of Nero. I feel pretty good about my chance to win, win the Twitter battle, as well as, place top 50 maybe overall. I don't know if I'm going to nail the lineup. The chance of me nailing the lineup to really win the community, for like the full community challenge, is going to be tricky, but I feel good about this 4 different teams. 4 teams I feel good about making it to the weekend. 3 teams, Thieves, Optic, and FaZe, who I think all definitely have a chance to win this thing, even though, Optic's made a roster change. I'm a little bit probably less bullish on them than the other 2 teams, but let's see, Ant is having a lot of upside this, so we're going to go ahead and submit that. And then there we go. This is our team that we are going to have for the upcoming major. Let's see if we can win this thing. And that's it for this video, chat. I will obviously keep you guys updated on how this team does over the next couple of weeks. I would love to go back to back in the Twitter challenge. I don't think I'm going to get anything monetary for that, but it's all bragging rights. Coming up later this week, we're going to have a Q&A video coming up. We're going to also have a video coming up likely on Thursday that's really going to kind of summarize what every team of all the 12 teams need to do or improve and focus on over the next couple of weeks going into these online matches. So we'll be breaking that down for you. That I think I may end up splitting that on Thursday and Friday into 2 different videos, or I might do it all in one video on Thursday and then do kind of like a predictions video on Friday. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna figure out with my Twitch chat. But if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know what you think in the comments. Like if you enjoyed watching the video. I hate to use that word again, but it is what it is. And subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys on the next one.